What do you believe in, huh? What do you believe in?
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
There's nothing more terrifying than a villain who believes in a cause. Whether that's Thanos and balance or the Joker and chaos, lots of villains become all the more powerful from fervent belief in an ideology. But that on its own isn't actually enough. If you think back to a movie you probably haven't thought of since you last watched it, Ultron was also a villain who believed strongly in an ideology. Over the course of his Avengers movie, he makes it clear that he is trying to achieve peace on Earth, with that peace coming at the cost of the human race. Despite that, Ultron has ultimately become one of the lesser baddies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's pantheon of villains. So, why? What is it about Thanos and the Joker that makes them so great, while Ultron doesn't make nearly the same impact? Well, there's two reasons why. The first is the subject we covered in my first video on villains. Rule number 1, make them people. Now that rule doesn't have to be literal. There are some pretty human-feeling androids out there. They can be human, CGI creations, or Western robots, but villains need to feel like real people. Secondly, when it comes to villains who fervently believe in a cause or an ideology, the cardinal rule of writing rears its head here yet again. Show, don't tell. A villain can go on a 5-minute monologue about their beliefs, but as an audience that will feel hollow unless we see that belief in action. How deeply does their fanaticism go? What are they willing to sacrifice for their cause? As a primary villain of Infinity War, Thanos follows those two rules to a T. First off, Thanos is a fully developed person. We feel for Thanos and can understand where he's coming from. Even though we disagree with his methods, we understand why he believes the only way to save the universe is to cull the number of mouths to feed. And that's because he shows us his old planet. This was a place he loved. It was his home. But they ignored his warnings about their dire future, and now he has no home. It's lost forever. Not only is that tragedy the event that drives his beliefs, it's also one of the things that makes him feel like a real person. Many of us have in some form experienced a loss that we wish we could fix or change. And so we feel for Thanos. Because if there are two things we humans experience, it's love and loss. And speaking of love, Thanos' love is also explored in his scenes with Gamora. As the movie progresses, we see that he truly does care for his abducted and adoptive daughter. It's not exactly what you'd call a healthy relationship, but again, it serves to make Thanos feel more like a real person, instead of a big purple CGI creature who smashes things for no reason. But more than being fleshed out as a person, the writers also made sure to show us just how far Thanos was willing to go for his cause. And I'm not talking about the finger snap that wiped out half the universe and sent kids home crying after going to the movies. That snap was always part of the deal. That's what Thanos wanted to do from the start to achieve his goal of balance. No, I'm talking about what the quest for balance cost Thanos. And what did it cost?
Everything.
This is the kicker. This is what makes us as an audience see how powerful Thanos' belief is in his own ideology. We know that Gamora may be the only person he has ever loved, but when Thanos has to choose, when he's confronted with the choice of sparing his daughter or gaining the power of an Infinity Stone, he sacrifices the only thing in the universe he loves. We see this decision tear him apart. He's crying as he performs the deed and roars at the pain it's causing him, but he believes his cause is worth any cost, even a cost that would break him. And it's seeing that in action that makes Thanos truly terrifying. And things aren't so different with Suicide Squad's Joker. Just kidding! Things aren't so different with the Joker from The Dark Knight. The movie wastes no time in making him feel like an actual person, and it does this through his varied backstories. First the one about his abusive father, and then the one about his wife who got in deep with the loan sharks. Both are contradictory, but it doesn't matter. You can believe one of the two stories, or you can subscribe to the popular fan theory that he's a veteran survivor who watched his friends in the military get blown up to little fanfare.
Or a truckload of soldiers will be blowing up. Nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan.
Point is, through Heath Ledger's one-of-a-kind performance, it's very clear to us as an audience that behind the clown makeup is a real human, and that human is someone who has suffered greatly. And it's that suffering that put him on his ideological crusade in the name of chaos. But that suffering also means that, unlike Thanos, the Joker has nothing he loves left. The only thing that he can sacrifice for his cause is his life, but he puts that on the line time and time again. The character is clearly one who meticulously plans all of his schemes to the last detail, but no one is perfect, and no plan is beyond failure. The Joker believes so strongly in driving Gotham to chaos that he doesn't care. He is willing to die for his cause. At any point during the bank robbery, mob boss confrontation, SWAT car chase, and especially in his confrontation with Harvey in the hospital, one slip-up or stray bullet could have put an end to him. And all of that culminates at the end of the movie when he causes a massive scene with the two fairies, knowing that he will either end the night killed by the police or captured by Batman. All of that to distract the cops and Batman from the true agent of chaos now in the city. Harvey Two-Face, Gotham's former White Knight. The Joker knows that even if he dies, Harvey's corruption and murders will have broken the city. Chaos will have won, and everyone will believe what the Joker believes. It's a powerful sacrifice, and it's only thwarted because Batman is willing to make an equally powerful sacrifice to save the city's soul. He takes the blame for Harvey's murders, but that breaks him for 8 years. He can't come back until Bane gives him no choice in The Dark Knight Rises. So, once again, a villain's fanaticism not only makes them all the more compelling and frightening, it also makes them all the more effective in confronting our heroes. And so, relative to Thanos and the Joker, it's easy to see why Ultron failed. He's not a person. He's a literal robot with no backstory. His whole personality is founded upon the poorly worded directive that his two dads gave him.
What mission?
Peace in our time.
Peace in our time. That's all he wants, and as he improves his body, his viewpoint shifts to the only way to have peace is to evolve. But even that inconsistency isn't what really hurts him as a villain. It's the fact that he never has to pay a price or sacrifice anything for his beliefs. He just kills a bunch of people that he doesn't care about. And he has thousands of replaceable bodies, so it's not like he even can sacrifice his life. He has literally nothing to lose until the last moments of the movie, when he really does just have one body left. Then he half-heartedly argues with Vision, and is promptly obliterated. We're never shown how much his cause means to him as a person. He never has to give anything up for his beliefs. He starts out with all of the power in the world, and just keeps that up until the Avengers can figure out how to cut him off from that power. And by taking a look at his failings, we see all the more what makes Thanos and the Joker so compelling. They always put their cause first. They risk everything they have because their beliefs are more important to them than anything else. And that means that any scene they're in feels that much more tense and that much more dangerous, because you never know just how far they'll go for the thing they want. To be a great ideological villain, it's not enough to believe in something. An ideological villain has to be willing to sacrifice everything for their beliefs, whether that comes in the form of something they love or their own life. It's those unshakable antagonists, the ones who continue down their path no matter what they lose along the way, that are truly powerful. They become the ones we're afraid of as children, and they still impact us when we're adults. Dread them, run from them, but destiny still arrives. Massive thanks to my first Patreon supporter, Jada Pichota. Not only do you get your name in the credits as promised, you also get this personalized shout out. Thanks again for your support. It means more than you can imagine. And if you'd like to join Jada in their Patreon awesomeness, there should be a link somewhere on screen right about now.